Against is a game I found out about fairly recently, only really like a few weeks ago, but just from the trailer alone, it was a game that instantly caught my attention due to the art style and the type of game that it actually is. I'm using this as a kind of feedback and feel video just to talk about my first impressions after playing the demo, and I'm typing the script out straight after playing it, so it's all fresh. Before getting into the video though, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, otherwise you'll step on a Lego brick. Quick disclaimer as well, the video footage you're going to see is slightly zoomed in for some reason. I'm unsure if that is demo specific. It's not on every game. I've tried other games and I've tried re-recording it in Steam VR, but unfortunately they haven't fixed the 30 FPS bug for that, so it looked really choppy, so you're just going to have to bear with it zoomed in a little bit. Anyway, Against is a combat rhythm game that looks very similar in a way to Pistol Whip, at least to me it does, but it adds a bigger mix of equipment and weapons to use, as well as swapping the terrain around in some areas. Like you might do some wall running, you may jump onto the next building, or you may just smash through a wall and end up in a warehouse to continue the next part of the level. As I mentioned before, the art style is very striking as it's a noir style, but as they said on their Twitter not long ago, they are debating changing this to a more realistic art direction with some colour. I am still on the fence about it, but I do think that for the longevity of the game and any DLC/additions later on, colour could be a useful tool. Black and white is striking, but it may put some people off as noir isn't for everyone, but I do see why they went for it initially, as it does make it stand out in terms of, rhythm games. You think black and white at the minute, the only one that really stands out to you in this kind of art direction is this. In terms of the feel of the demo, it does feel very fluid and well connected. The music track that they've used for the demo fits very well with the enemy placements. Even on hard, they've avoided the pitfall of what some rhythm games do, and I'm sure you all know what I mean when I say that some Beat Saber tracks, if you've played that or even just some other rhythm games, they'll put notes or enemies in just for the sake of difficulty, rather than actually fitting the music that's there. Personally, when games do that, it not only makes it feel disjointed from the music, but it puts me off, as your hands kind of want to go with the beat, and if there's an extra enemy, you're kind of doing off beats. But in terms of this demo, so far I'm glad to say they've avoided doing it. The music itself is quite minimalist, but it does enhance the ease of when you're supposed to strike, which is a good thing for a rhythm game, for obvious reasons. It also has a nice build-up throughout the level to make it feel more epic towards the end with the boss fight. In terms of my overall thoughts on the demo, it does feel like a great start for the game, and they seem to be pretty vocal and open about wanting to improve on it, as seen on Twitter. As I mentioned before, they are openly asking people what they want. The only issues that I encountered with the demo were fairly minor. My first issue was that the button to swap your weapon, you can swap it to the other hand, but it's kind of the same button that I rest my thumbs on. So if you happen to tense while you swing, which, most people probably would, I found myself sometimes pressing it, which means that you swap to the other hand, so you kind of get hit for no reason. It's a little less than ideal, so maybe if it was possible to either change it to a hold to change, or just change the button, or even just disable it, it would be nice to have the option, just so I'm not getting hit for no reason. The second issue I had was the arrows in the way that you're supposed to slash with the katana/sword, whichever way you want to call it. Could be a little bit cleaner, as in the fast sections on the hard level especially. Your eyes sometimes, with the amount of enemies, there might be like 4 at a time, your eyes don't really get chance to focus to see which direction they're supposed to be. And bear in mind, there will be an expert mode, so from hard to expert there'll be a bigger jump as well with more enemies that will most likely require faster movements as well. So if it was possible to just kind of clean up the direction a little bit, or make it, I don't know, draw your eye to it a bit more, flash, I don't know, go from, red to white, just anything that would draw your eye to it or make it easier to notice. My final issue with the demo was sometimes when using the terrain bumps, which are like the red arrows that you're meant to hit. Sometimes it felt like if your hand was already near them, it wouldn't let you activate them, so you'd just kind of keep going forward and you'd either get hit by a car or you'd end up where you didn't go on the building, which was just kind of odd. I would have to move my hands backwards to make sure that I didn't skip it. It's not a big issue. It did confuse me a little bit though, because sometimes I was taking damage for no reason. Although it did make me accidentally find out about the different paths you can take in the level, where you just burst through the doors of the warehouse, so that was kind of cool. My final thing to say on this game in terms of feedback is more of an idea for it. I know the game is set in the 1930s and that's why they went for the noir theme, but playing this made me think that if they do go down the route of colour and more realism, they could actually keep the enemy character models but change the texture to basically fit any theme or time that they actually want. They could change the textures to be feudal Japan, futuristic cities, medieval times where you could use a sword or crossbow and a shield, They could basically do just about anything to find a way to mix up the weapons and terrain to make a very unique game. Based on my experience with the demo, if the only way is up for this game, it will be a definite buy for me on day one. Pistol Whip is currently my #1 rhythm game I've played in VR, and I played a lot of it. And again, seems like it takes the good parts of that, but it also adds its own flair and playstyles to make it its own thing. I'll be keeping a close eye to see how this progresses for sure. Also, for those of you that might be interested, I'm going to do a video where I'm doing an easy playthrough, hard playthrough, and then side by side so you can compare them. If you're not able to play the demo, you can kind of see what the current difficulty differences are, as well as what's in the game. That's all I can really say on Against for now, but there will definitely be more to come. So I will see you for the next video.